Oliver Sloup is standing by. He is with Blue Line Futures there in Chicago at the edge of the trading floor. Okay, this livestock trade kind of setting up with an interesting set of dynamics. We've got the African swine fever taking place in China. We've still got good exports and good demand for both beef and for pork. We've got a cattle on feed that's coming out Friday, and then we've also got a cold storage. So now, does the trade just work with technicals here?
Well, there's a lot to digest, and on top of that, you throw in the global trade talk going back and forth, and it is a lot. And you kind of have people kind of sitting on their hands here to start the week as we figure out which way we want to go. We saw, obviously, a nice bid come into the market late Friday on some short covering on positive trade headlines and positive cash. We saw cash ended up coming in about 111. Then after the close, we saw some 110.5, and I think the trade is maybe a little bit disappointing, that 110.5, so starting off a little bit softer, but really kind of in the middle of no man's land for the October live cattle contract. 111.45 represents the key Fibonacci retracement level, bumped up against that Friday. Weren't able to sustain that momentum in today's open. We're retreating a little bit, but there's a lot of support. 109.55, which represents the 50% retracement. So as I'd mentioned, kind of lingering right in between, waiting for either the bulls or the bears to be a little bit more aggressive in either direction. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some position squaring play into this week's trade at all with all that information you had mentioned.
Are the outside financial markets a player in any of this?
You know, I think they are, more so when we see some fear and panic come into the market. When we see sell-offs, you start to see maybe some funds raise cash and maybe get out of some agricultural products to hold equities and whatnot. So that's one way to look at it. It's not going to be a one-to-one correlation, but certainly plays an effect into things.
Okay, a hog market, that's been an interesting market, you know. Today we're pulling back here just a little bit after last week's strength, but is a quote-unquote healthy pullback justified?
Well, we've seen a massive rally over the past week. We saw the expanded limits being taken advantage of Friday's session, and we're just not really able to see some follow through. I think we maybe accelerated too far too fast, and now we're seeing some profit taking from people who were able to buy at much lower prices. We're seeing them come in and kind of lock some gains in, and I think that's the smart and prudent thing to do. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit more pressure here to start the week, but I think midweek we start to find a little bit more equilibrium and turn our focus back to near-term fundamentals.
Will the trade also be watching day by day to see what comes out of China with this African swine development?
Absolutely. Headlines are going to keep these markets very volatile, not just the hogs, but the trade headlines for the grains and obviously cattle as well. So headlines are going to be a flip of the coin, so be sure to manage your risk appropriately.
Oliver Sloup, Blue Line Futures here with some great advice. Oliver, thank you very much. Always good to visit with you.